What software do you need to run a construction business? From all-in-one platforms like Procore to non-construction specific tools like Google Drive or SharePoint, in this video, I'm going to try and unpack all the different functions in your business that you need software for, and then what the best tools are out there. But first, as a construction contractor, why should you care about software? Well, McKinsey, the big management consulting firm, did a study that found that effectively implementing software and digital solutions improved productivity of construction contractors by 14 to 15%. That was all encompassing, looking at things like wastage of materials, stand down time on site, and less management staff to run the same project. And more broadly, across industries, companies see 4 to 6% productivity gains by going digital. Now, these are averages. If you implement a tech stack effectively that solves problems specific to your business at the right price point, you're going to see bigger productivity gains than that. On top of that, with tools like generative AI and automations, looking into the future, I can only see these numbers increasing. So in this video, I want to walk through every function of a construction business, from estimating, project management, document control, accounting, communication, scheduling, to look at what are the specific software packages that best serve your needs. I'll also try to give you a simple DIY option where instead of paying for expensive software, you can try and build the same thing yourself. Now, the one thing I would tell you definitely not to do that I have seen quite a few construction companies try to is to build your own custom software. Things like Procore, I know, are incredibly expensive, but they're also often very, very good because they've spent tens of millions of dollars developing specific software tailored to the needs of construction companies, so they often know what your problems are better than you. Building your own templates and tools with Excel, and even using some no-code automation platforms like Zapier or even Airtable, I think are fantastic options. Getting into the realm of building your own software specific to your needs, what I've seen firsthand, every time companies try to do that, they end up with a very expensive version of something much worse. So just quickly, who am I? My name's Tim, and I've spent the last 10 years working in the construction industry across a range of renewable energy, infrastructure, oil and gas, and commercial projects. And more recently, I've left my job to build my own construction estimating and contract management software. And why I would love to shamelessly plug it and include it in my list of software options. Currently pretty terrible, but it is getting better. So if you would like to check it out, I'll put a link for it in the video description. Okay, as I said in the intro, the purpose of this video is to give you a very quick overview and lay of the land of all the different functions of a construction business and what the most common software solutions out there for it. I'll try and structure it around going through an overview of the function, what you would want a software to do, and then give you 2 to 3 options of the most popular software out there. Okay, so the first function, estimating, my favorite one. Estimating is, as you know, the process of calculating project cost. Software, construction estimating software gives you a structured way of compiling those costs and transforming drawings into a price. So when we're looking for estimating software, what we want is we want a digital takeoff tools for performing measurements on PDFs. We want some sort of cost database that we can update with our rates and units. We want to be able to save templates and reusable pricing structures so we can quickly price new projects. If we have a lot of subcontractors, for example, we're a general contractor, we want some way to manage and compare vendor quotes. We want to export the pricing we've prepared into some sort of professional proposal, like a letter of offer. And if we're using some sort of job costing or accounting software, we'd like to be able to transfer our budget into the forecast revenue for that project. Okay, number one, and by far the best construction management software that was ever invented, we've got Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets. To me, Excel is perfect for estimating. It's got formulas, you can do calculations, it's got numbers. You can customize it and build exactly what you want, and you can also share it with everyone in your team. Negatives of using something like Excel is you still need some sort of takeoff or drawing software like Bluebeam. It doesn't auto update. When you have complicated large pricing structures, you can get messy formula updates. You can have a lot of issues, and as projects become bigger, it just becomes more messy and complicated. So the next common construction estimating software where there's a massive price jump to it is Stack. So Stack is a cloud-based takeoff and estimating software that focuses on digital plan measurement. So it integrates the quantity takeoff feature and allows you to apply rates and costs to those. It's industry standard for digital takeoff. It's very popular. You can get unlimited view-only users. Only the estimators need to pay, which I think is a very useful function because a lot of the time you have an estimator who puts together a price, but then you've got other people who need to review it. So you don't want to be paying for multiple licenses. It's very good at takeoffs and measurements. You can organize your pricing into more of a bid management system. So not just looking at the costs, but also putting together full proposals. And it's got strong integrations with other construction software. The negatives of it is while it's got integrations with other construction management software, it doesn't have very good project management and bid management tools. It's best used primarily as just an estimating system. So if you are looking to build it into more of a project delivery system, it's not great. And it is expensive at $3,000 per user. So if you've got 2 or 3 estimators, your software costs will stack up quickly. The next one is ProS. So ProS is similar to Stack, but on top of that, it's got a CRM. So a client relationship management system designed for contractors. So you can store in there all your clients, your details, what projects you bid with them, and basically relate the two. It's cloud-based, it's accessible anywhere. It handles complex projects well. It's good for larger contractors, but again, it's expensive. It requires a lot of training and onboarding because you customize it to your own processes. So if you're a small contractor, it's probably painful. If you're a big contractor, that's probably exactly what you want. And then finally, we've got the DIY option. So the DIY option is the Excel version, which is where you create a reusable Excel template. You've got a project resource library. You have a main pricing schedule, and then you have activity templates. And if you want, I'll put a link in the video description to a free Excel pricing template that I use for all of my projects. Okay, the next set of software we're going to talk about are project management software. So project management software are tools that allow you to coordinate, deliver, and manage the project to ensure you finish on time, on budget, keep your client happy, keep everyone safe, and also comply with any documentation, reporting requirements, like safe work method statements, permits, and so on and so forth. So when we're looking at a project management software, what we want it to help us do is obviously to coordinate and complete the work. But we also want it to manage tasks, coordinate the work between different team members, allow us to prepare schedules, to sequence the work, allow us to manage all our quality, so allow inspection and testing, inspection and test check sheets, and also handle things like client communication and key registers. For example, RFIs, submittals, change orders, site diaries, photos, punch lists, all that stuff. Ideally, it reports this in a way where we can see problems before they arise. Project management software is more or less the overarching software. So as we go further through this, I'll also talk about scheduling and document control software, but the best project management softwares allow you to create schedules and allow you to do all the document control and storage functions. Okay, so the first software I'm going to talk about is Buildertrend. So Buildertrend is a comprehensive project management platform, but it's designed more specifically for residential and remodeling contractors. It's built specifically for residential construction workflows. It has a strong client communication features and client portal, so clients can view the project and how it's progressing. It's got unlimited users included in the base plan, allows you for financial tracking and budget management, allows you to do scheduling, change orders, and different sorts of team management, and it also allows you to do punch lists and inspections. Now, at $300 a month for small builders, it might be prohibitively expensive. It's more established for better residential builders. The next one I'll talk about is the king of the construction software industry, which is Procore. Procore is an industry-leading construction management platform that's been around for decades, and it is probably the most common and widely known all-in-one platform. Procore, you never hear complaints about Procore as not being good enough. The only complaint you hear is that it's way too expensive, and it is. Usually they charge, I'm not sure exactly what they charge because it's all custom pricing. You have to go through a sales call, some sort of funnel, and it's all custom pricing based on your revenue. I think it might be something like 0.5 to 1% of your revenue. But again, if you look on forums like Reddit, you'll hear a lot of people complaining about how expensive it is, not that it's not good enough. Procore is the industry standard for commercial construction. It allows unlimited users. It handles projects of any size and complexity. It's got strong document control, RFI workflow, and submittal management. It's got quality and safety tools with inspection and checklists, safe work method statements. It's got basic scheduling functions, although it's not as good as something like Primavera P6, which is purpose-made for scheduling. And it's got extensive integrations with other software. For example, if you go into a platform like Zapier, there's pre-built automations where you can talk directly to Procore. Now, the main con is that it's very expensive, but also when you're talking specifically about estimating and scheduling, when you're doing more complicated projects, basic stuff, it'll be perfectly fine. But for more advanced, complicated workflows, which small contractors aren't going to need, it can be overkill. Now, final software I'll talk about as a project management tool is Autodesk Construction Cloud. Autodesk Construction Cloud, again, is a construction management platform, but it has very strong BIM auto integration because Autodesk is primarily what it's known for is a 3D modeling platform. Autodesk has very strong integrations with AutoCAD, Revit, and other design tools, and it's excellent for document management and version control. So you have your project with a lot of drawings, a lot of different revisions of drawings, which again is probably going to be more on the head contractor, general contractor side than the subcontractor side, and not really relevant at all for residential construction, I'd say. It's very useful at that sort of function, similar to something like a TeamMinder or an AConnect. Now, it does include scheduling and quality management management tools, but again, like Procore, it's not going to be good as specific estimating and scheduling tools like Candy, Costex, or scheduling tools like Primavera P6. Now, if you aren't interested in one of these more expensive platforms, then the DIY option I would say is use Google Drive and SharePoint for your document control. Well, actually, I'd say use SharePoint because SharePoint does actually have a lot of cool features in it if you build it out properly. Use Google Sheets for all your registers and tracking. So have an RFI register, have a variation register, have a payment claim register, have registers with your meeting minutes. So basically any sort of formal repetitive communication that needs to be tracked should be in some sort of Excel register. You could use, if you want digital forms you can use in the field, you can use something like Bluebeam, which allows you to create editable PDFs that you can view on a tablet, or just use paper-based forms, which do work incredibly well in construction. And any communication, you can use email and WhatsApp. Now, the fancy add-on to this would be to have Airtable, which if you don't know, it's like everything you wish Excel could do. All the fancy formulas are just pre-built into it. It's free to use for single users. So put your registers in Airtable and use it for your document tracking and document control. I've done another video on this that you can find on my channel. And also use something like Bluebeam to create editable forms you can use on tablets. Bluebeam is the best quantity takeoff software I find, so you could also use that to create viewable forms and tables, and you'd need it anyway for viewing drawings, markups, and estimates. All right, so the next set of software I want to talk about is document and drawing control. We all know on construction projects, you get a mountain of paperwork to deal with. Drawings, specifications, inspection and test plans, updated schedules, subcontracts, so on and so forth. Drawing and document control systems allow you to manage all of this. Once a manager said to me very early on in my career that the most important person on a project is the document controller. But at the start, I didn't really understand that, but as I went through my career, the amount of problems, headaches, lost money I've seen, people missing emails, people working off the wrong revision of drawings, people not being able to track down correspondence or some sort of agreement that wasn't put into writing. I 100% understand the point he was making. Drawing and document control, if you have some system to manage it, or you're using tools like Google Drive or SharePoint, but you're using them very well, it will make your life 1,000 times easier. So basically, what you want the software to do is you want some structured way to manage, organize this mountain of paperwork, such as drawings, specifications, submittals, contracts, change orders, meeting minutes, photos, whatever it is. You want to make sure everyone has the current version and can find it when needed. So there's really two parts of this. There's people having the correct version, and then people being able to find and search for it and locate it easily. So what this means is you want some way of organizing files. You want version control and tracking of every revision. You want permission setting, so certain people can only edit and delete certain documents. You want mobile access in the field, ideally so people working in the field can view the drawings on their tablets. Again, I know that's a big thing in the construction software industry. I personally have found that printing drawings always seems to work better and people always seem to prefer it. And ideally, you should be able to integrate it with your project management software if you are using it. Okay, so the first set of options, which most companies will need anyway for non-project specific documents will be your Google Drive, Dropbox, or SharePoint, which is basically, we're all familiar with cloud storage and file sharing platforms that are adaptable for construction document management. Again, these are very horizontal software that are used across all industries, so they will take some degree of customization. Benefits is everyone knows how to use it. They work with everything. They're cheap and simple, good for basic version control, and they're good for small teams just starting out. The negatives is obviously don't have built into them construction workflows. There's no drawing or markup tools. There's no submittal workflows, and the folder structure can get messy on larger projects. However, that last point, I would just say, if you do spend some time planning, preparing, and thinking through how you're going to manage documents, I think that is very addressable. The next platform I'll talk about for document control is the Procore Integrated Document Control System. Again, it comes as part of the Procore Project Management Suite, and it is document control custom made for construction companies. So again, all the documents you have will be integrated into all of your Procore workflows. So for example, design management and drawing revision control will be integrated into the RFI and submittal process. For example, when you raise an RFI, you get an update to that drawing, it'll be relevant to that drawing that's updated. So you better track RFIs against that, which obviously makes things like red line markups and as-builting at the end of the job, as well as document control for the construction process and making sure people have the right revision drawings. Very, very easy. But if you're trying to do something like that in SharePoint, you'd have to set that all up manually. Again, the cons of using something like Procore is just that it's very expensive, but also compared to some of the other tools, the drawing and markup tools probably aren't as good as more of the custom built construction design tools. So tools like Autodesk, for example, that are made as much for design teams as construction teams. So again, Autodesk, similar to the Autodesk Cloud, is a purpose-built construction document management system, which is used by design teams as well as construction teams. So it's built specifically for construction workflows, same as Procore, but it's got more features for marking up drawings and integrating with BIM. So again, if you work on projects that have a lot of drawings where you get a 3D model, maybe you have to do 3D as-builts, that sort of stuff, Autodesk Docs would be much better suited to you. Again, also give you a DIY option, which the document and drawing control, I think, isn't a bad solution because for a lot of smaller contractors, particularly, you're probably not dealing with a ton of drawings, maybe one drawing pack relevant to your scope. So you can easily set up something like that, Google Drive, Dropbox, or SharePoint. The key here is I just really think through how you're going to set it up at the start of the project and set it up properly. So you could use SharePoint, you get a folder for each drawing package, you can have each individual drawing listed out and have some sort of process when you get a new drawing that someone has to go through and up-rev it. All that stuff you have to think about at the start of the project. Tools like Procore, TeamMiner, Aconnect, they have a process that you can follow. These tools also have in them document control revisions and registers for all sorts of different communication. Now, I've been playing with a way to do this using Airtable and some simple automations, and it works super well. So I'm going to do another video on that shortly. Maybe it's already out by the time you watch this, but there are ways to take your DIY option and make it much smarter, much more sophisticated, and get some of these other features, Procore or Autodesk, and just basically create simple versions yourself using no-code automation tools. Next up, I'll talk about accounting software. Again, accounting, it's not my forte. I've personally been using these other more construction-specific tools more, but I just looked up the most common ones. So what do you want accounting software to do? You want to help you manage your revenue and expenses, track all your invoices, and help you prepare your tax returns. Depending how sophisticated you want it to be, you can do job costing and do your cost control in it. But again, I think if you're a smaller contractor, Excel is perfect for that sort of stuff. And also it allows you to help with your billing, managing your retention and cash flow. The simple version is QuickBooks Online, which isn't a construction-specific software, but it's a horizontal used across many different industries. It's an industry standard for small business accounting, and it's got some construction-specific features in the higher tiers, but you probably don't need them. The great thing about QuickBooks is that it already integrates with a lot of other tools, and you get cloud-based access for everything. It's very simple, but some of the cons, if you want some of the more sophisticated features like job costing, progress billing, then it's not going to be possible in tools like QuickBooks. The next software I'd talk about is Sage 100 Contractor, which again is a construction specific accounting platform. And because it's construction specific, it's much more expensive. It's built specifically for construction workflows, which has better job costing capabilities. So you can actually track and manage your expenses in it. It's better than QuickBooks, bigger contractors, and it also has some estimating project management features. So you can include all these tools together and get single workflows that cover both the estimating, cost control, and accounting function. The main cons would be that it is a bit more complicated. There is a bit of a steep learning curve and it is more expensive. Same with Foundation. It's another construction specific accounting software that if you're a small contractor, realistically, you probably don't need. The DIY option, well, not necessarily DIY, but would just be to use something like QuickBooks and have an accountant, which 99% of businesses already do. So I'd start with something very simple that does the basics and then have a good accountant, which you're going to need to pay for anyway. Okay, the final set of software I'm going to talk about is scheduling software. And I know typically scheduling is something that small contractors don't really need to do as much. It's much more of a tool used on large projects or by general contractors. The one thing I will say and why I wanted to talk specifically about scheduling is that scheduling is one of the most important contract management functions out there in terms of your ability to make contractual claims, to justify payment claims to your client, estimate correctly. All these functions are driven by having a good understanding of scheduling. That's why even if you're a small contractor, building schedules for your projects, thinking through both how you're going to deliver them, what you're relying on your client for access for, I just think is such an insanely valuable thing. And every project that I put the effort into building a schedule as part of the estimating process, I can guarantee I've picked up issues and priced it better. So scheduling software, what do you want it? So scheduling software helps you plan, prepare, and sequence your construction work to finish your projects on time, as well as helping you report on performance to your client and justify contractual claims. So a lot of contracts in them actually mandate, even if you don't do it, that you need to provide an updated schedule to your client every 2 weeks. If you're relying on your client for access and you don't have a schedule and you can't prove you've been delayed, you're missing out on claiming a lot of money. So what do you want scheduling software to be able to do? You want it to be able to plan, sequence work, assign resources, track progress, and communicate the plan. Good scheduling will help you solve problems before they cost you money or help you make money. What you want in a scheduling software is a readable Gantt chart view, be able to set up task dependencies, so link activities, load resources, so put resources into different activities, develop what-if scenarios to test alternatives, provide field updates, and export to readable formats. The gold standard of project scheduling is Microsoft Project, and it's the easiest to use and probably the one you're all familiar with. It's very easy and intuitive to create Gantt charts in Microsoft Project. The only negative of it is it's not construction specific, but to be honest, for scheduling software, I've never really found that you need it. The next set of tools would be scheduling software that are built into platforms like Procore, Buildertrend, and basically they're very similar to Microsoft Project. At the end of the day, scheduling isn't that complicated. They basically allow you to create Gantt charts, allocate dependencies. They are going to be less advanced than Primavera P6, but Primavera P6 is the gold standard for major projects. Every major project I've ever worked on uses Primavera, but if you're a small contractor, it's very expensive and it's just overkill. And it also takes quite a bit of time to use because you can do some very complicated things in it. So unless for whatever reason you are working on a mega project and you need to provide copies of your schedule in Primavera P6, and this I could only see ever being relevant for very large contractors, you probably don't need something like Primavera. The rule of thumb is if it's a small project, less than $1 million, less than 200 activities, you can use Microsoft Project very well. Going up to more than 2,000 activities, which would be a huge project and a very detailed schedule, then you'd start to get into using Primavera P6. If you want the simple DIY option, you can create Gantt charts in Excel, or as I've been experimenting with recently, you can create some very good Gantt charts in ChatGPT or Claude. More or less the exact same process. So instead of having to pay for Microsoft Project, if all you do is set up a task table with your activities, the linkages, the resources, whatever, put that into something like ChatGPT or Claude and get it to prepare a schedule for you, it'll do a very good job and it'll give you a schedule you can provide to your client. So that's my very brief and simple overview of different construction software. Next question is, what is the best construction tech stack for you and your business? Well, unfortunately, I'm going to give you one of those flaky answers that everyone hates and simply say it's the one you use. If you find tools that work for you and adjust to your workflow, then that's what you want. If you're a big contractor turning over millions of dollars a year, then investing in high quality software like Procore will almost definitely pay for itself, because even slight percentage savings in overall revenue, in productivity, will easily pay for the cost of the software. And hence, that's why software like Procore can charge such high prices, because they're very good and very effective. But if you're a little construction company, the reality is you're probably not going to be doing mega projects with complicated workflows, complicated document control systems. So tools like Procore would almost certainly be overkill. You're much better off starting with free tools or DIY options and working out what works for you. Without a doubt though, the best software out there is my construction estimating and contract management software, Operum, and unfortunately that is not an objective claim, but if you do want to check it out, it's an AI enhanced estimating and contract management tool that's designed to make estimating easy and help you to never underquote a project. So at the end of this video, I'll put a link to another video where you can see a quick demonstration of how it works.